and welcome to Beautiful Losers, the comic book movie and TV news podcast. My name is Emcoast.
And I'm Iris.
Yes, you are.
I'm just waiting for you to say one of these days, like, no, you're not.
Yeah, no, I feel like
you have to confirm this. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I feel like one day I'm just going to have an aneurysm while I'm talking into this microphone.
It's a stroke.
This microphone will be the death of me. Okay?
You're like those professors that say, I'm going to teach till the day I die.
Yeah.
I will die on top of a student.
Oh.
That was actually a thing that a professor said. Is like, I'm going to collapse, and that's why the first row should stay clear.
That is icky.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely disgusting.
It's very icky.
Anyways.
Want to get right into it? Okay,
yes.
So today we're going to be talking...
TLJ.
Yes, the Last Jedi.
The Last Jew.
The Last Jewish. We're going to be talking The Last Jedi, non-spoilers and spoilers like we always do.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously before that, we're going to get right into this week's news.
Absolutely.
Because I feel like things have happened, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, because technically we literally only recorded a few days ago, so the newsprint, the press has not been super exciting lately.
Exactly. And there's some news on here that I was like, oh, wow.
Oh, wow. Nice. So yeah.
If only I was like, if only there was a podcast that would report on all these things.
You know what I need to mention, which is what I was looking for before we started recording. Thank you to the person, like the one other person that left a review on our iTunes page, which I do encourage you guys to give us a rating and leave a review because we love to hear feedback from you guys.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was really funny because it's praises show. Etc. And it says that it's an uncommon perspective on the whole nerd thing, and I've never heard that said to us to describe us, and I think it is so accurate.
Yeah. I actually have had another person say something along those lines. They were like, it's kind of like it's an unconventional way of, like, you guys like comic books but just don't give a shit.
Exactly.
About anything else.
We're very casual, but at the same time really passionate.
Exactly. We're on our grind, but we're also people. You know, we're not.
Yeah, we're humans. We try to keep it real.
It's fun.
We keep it real.
You know, and then there aren't that many other comic book podcasts like us. Like, I can count maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah, because it's just kind of like we're basically not setting high standards.
Exactly.
I'm
not lighting anything on fire.
He has a lighter in his hand, and I get nervous. But anyways, first bit of news: Sebastian Stan teases return to familiar Iron Man location in Avengers 4.
Oh, yeah.
So
we see Sebastian
Stan is very active on the Instagrams. And the caption is December 16th, 1991,
which
naturally.
is, as we all know, is the day that thing happened.
That thing happened.
Yeah, no spoilers for Civil War, but Iron Man's parents are killed. Of this 2-year-old movie. It came out 2 years ago, right?
No, it came out last year.
This year-old movie.
Your concept of the passage of time today has been so out of
whack. I absolutely forgot that Logan came out this year.
Yep.
Like, Logan came out
in March. Yeah.
And it's felt like years.
It's been a long year.
It has been a long year.
A very, very long year. But yeah, we see Sebastian Stan posted his face. He's just like face palming in front of Tony Stark's suit room.
Yeah, like the suit gallery that he has.
Very, very strange. But yeah, so I guess we're gonna see what happens.
All right.
Going back.
That's
Next.
Fine. Actually, I'm just kind of excited for if they ever do a
Why
young...
do you start talking about it as soon as I close the tab?
No, it's fine. It's gone. It's fine.
Okay.
It's about Sebastian Stan specifically. We know what he looks like.
He's a lovely boy.
I'm just excited to see something around the young Luke Skywalker era done now, using Sebastian Stan as Luke.
Honestly.
It's the only other person that I want to play a young Luke Skywalker.
He's literally Mark Hamill.
Other than nobody else. Like, it's either Sebastian Stan or that's it.
Or CGI Mark Hamill onto Andy Serkis.
It's just CGI, Mark Hamill onto Andy Serkis' face.
There you go.
While he does Gollum voice for the whole movie.
Same thing. Anyways, the Russo brothers tease the death of one of these characters in Avengers 4.
Great. Oh, okay. So it's basically a choose-your-own-fate type thing.
Mm-hmm.
So one of these, apparently, according to the Russo brothers, one of these people is not going to survive the end of Avengers 4, right?
Yeah,
Avengers 4. The list here is Captain America, Thanos, Iron Man, which are basically the top 3.
Yeah.
And then
which makes sense.
Vision, Drax, and Gamora. So that's
Or-
there's a lot, or possibly anybody else.
No, possibly everyone,
possibly-
specifically, like Tony's vision in this thing, Civil War. Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert for this year-old movie.
Yes.
The debate
If
has
they
always
kill
been
everyone, then that could just like. It's
They're
not gonna
not gonna
happen.
kill
They're
everyone.
I know they're not DC.
Like,
because DC's gonna do a reset already with Flashpoint.
like I feel like this is gonna be kind of a reset for Marvel, but not in the extreme Flashpoint
Massively.
way. It's gonna be a very clean kind of just like we have to get rid of specific actors and keep our storylines.
Yeah,
You know, like Tony Stark has been paid hundreds of millions of thousands of dollars or whatever.
that is a number. Sure. Yeah.
Sure.
So, yeah.
The top two that everyone's looking at, it's either gonna be
James
Captain
Gunn has
America or
already
Iron
said that
Man.
no Guardians are safe in Avengers: Infinity War.
I mean, it makes sense. It's not even their franchise, so.
Exactly. So it wouldn't surprise me if it were Drax. I feel like it would be more emotionally impactful if it were Gamora, but I don't know. I feel like they can get a lot more story from Gamora because Gamora, although it also makes sense because Gamora is one of Thanos' like daughters.
I mean, I'm yawning here for a second.
Oh, bless you.
Thanks. Sure. I mean, I don't know.
Try
I
to be
feel like
polite.
Gamora and Drax, like, while we love their characters, in the vein of Avengers, they're not that big. You know, we love them under
bigly.
we love them under James Gunn's like hand.
Yeah.
So under the Russo
obviously.
brothers, they might just be.
The
I
Russo
feel like
brothers have delivered.
the Russo brothers have delivered, but I feel like they're gonna focus on their boys. You know.
The boys.
Yeah, their boots on the ground. You know, they're gonna focus on the Avengers.
Makes sense. So there's just like, oh yeah, that we're gonna have like, you have a play date, and like the other person's kid is there, and it's
Yeah.
like, I just want to make sure my kid's safe.
Exactly. Just like I need to make sure my
That's the
kid's
Russo
not
brothers
shitty,
with the
right?
play date,
So
yeah.
honestly, the biggest options is Captain America or Iron Man or Thanos. Like,
It would make sense. You know what would be fascinating if Thanos survives.
I mean, this is for Avengers 4,
Yeah.
so it means we have Infinity War now,
Yeah.
and then Avengers 4. So
Because
we still
Infinity
have
War is
time.
kind of a prequel to. No, it's basically part one.
It is. It's a
Because it
part.
was originally part one.
It's supposed to be part 1 and part 2, and now the second one's just gonna have a different title. That's it.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
I mean, another more obvious one is saying the Vision because we see him getting it ripped out of his face or whatever, but we don't know.
Yeah, but we had that whole that theory that perhaps it's not. I don't know. Maybe he just turns human or something because of the meat suit that he was made in. I don't know.
No clue.
Very, very.
We will
strange.
find out.
We will find out soon
in
enough.
when does Avengers 4 come out?
On May 4th.
May 4th, 2000. No, that's Avengers.
2018.
That's Infinity War.
That's yes. Avengers 4. I'm pretty sure is 2019.
I think they're just gonna go right after.
Yeah, because that was the whole dealio that they wanted to do it right after. I don't know.
They're pulling
I
a
don't
Harry
care.
Potter.
All right.
Matthew Vaughn confirms that he's currently in talks with DC for a couple of things.
No.
A few things.
Quote.
Sorry, quote.
A
few things. End quote. All of our information comes from superbromovie.com. So
calling
check
you
them
out.
out. No, just check them out. Whatever.
Yeah.
They're fine. They're cool.
But yeah, IGN got to interview Matthew Vaughn on their podcast. Wow. Attacked.
I feel hurt, Matthew Vaughn. We
Why
know
don't
you
come on
listen.
our podcast? Oh my god.
Yeah. We know
Yeah.
you listen, Matthew Vaughn. So get on it next time.
Yes, but yeah, I do love. He says that I do love the world of DC, and I've been talking to them at the moment about quote a few things. It's more fun getting involved with franchises when they're on the down because then it's easier to make a good film.
That's
So-
shitty.
That's such a shitty thing to say because then it's
That's
just
like when you give
when
those like
the expectations are low, anything's an improvement.
that's like when you give like those compliments that are also insults to girls to lower their
Yep.
standards or whatever.
Yep.
Where you're
Yep.
like, oh, it's like, oh, you'd look so much prettier without your glasses.
Yep. Yep.
So that's basically what he's doing there.
Yeah.
What would you like to see him do?
Matthew Vaughn, and for you guys that don't know, Matthew Vaughn is the director of Kingsman.
Kingsman and also the second part of Kingsman.
Kingsman 1 and 2. Wow.
Kingsman second.
Okay. Anyways, I don't know. In DC, I don't know what I would want because I already said. What did I say? Because Suicide Squad is a lost cause.
That is a lost cause.
Shazam already has its director.
Blue Beetle, maybe?
Perhaps. Possibly.
Possibly.
I would. You know what I would want to see.
Flash? Okay, give them a director. They're still like without a
Yeah,
director.
just Matthew Vaughn for the Flash, because I feel like the humor kind of, I don't know, the humor, the action, and like those scenes, those really fast scenes. I feel like it would work.
No, exactly.
If not the Flash, another Justice League, like Justice League Dark or something.
Justice League Dark could work. I'd like to see him work with Constantine and work with Swamp Thing and
because
Deadman.
I think I'd mentioned Edgar Wright for Justice League Dark, or because Guillermo del Toro has already said that he's going to take a break and he's not going to work on Justice League Dark.
Exactly.
So it could be Edgar Wright, or it could be Matthew Vaughn, one or the other. Anyways, Watchmen.
Yeah, the Watchmen HBO series is supposed to start filming in March.
So,
That's
and
exciting.
And then air like 10 years from now,
10
because
years
that's
from
how
now.
HBO freaking rolls.
I want to see this Watchmen.
I do.
Because I want it to be like a more faithful to the comics. You know, that's pretty much the main thing with this whole...
Yeah.
Like, my problem with the movie isn't what it was, because I liked it, but it just wasn't comic accurate.
Exactly.
So it's like...
It was like its own standalone thing.
Exactly. It was more like Zack Snyder's... He saw a few comic panels and said, this is what I'm doing.
It's kind of like Zack Snyder wrote an essay based on just the Spark Notes.
Exactly. It's just like when Zack Snyder wrote Batman v Superman without reading a
really
single...
identified when I said writing
So,
an essay just on Spark Notes.
Just saying, I think the common issue here is Zack Snyder.
The Zaddy.
Don't say that. You sicken me.
That was not my original idea, but yes. Shazam. You gotta say
The
it.
Shazam.
You
Shazam.
You have to say it like that because it's got an exclamation point. It's
Yeah,
not
Shazam.
It's oh god. Similar to Guardians of the Galaxy, says Zachary Levi.
It's supposed to be...
Is Shazam like DC's reply to Guardians of the Galaxy, like their new reply, because
Their
Suicide Squad doesn't count now?
Their reply 3 years later. 4 years later. Sorry.
So like when you send someone a message on Facebook and then you see it 4 years later.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is.
Yep. Didn't that happen to you?
Yeah, that did happen to me.
Oh my god.
That's actually a funny story. I messaged a guy on Facebook because he was selling a textbook, and I text him. I'm like, "Hey, is your book still available?" And then I get a message from him a few months back. Like I sent that message like years ago.
Yeah, that was like
I got
3
a
years
message
ago.
a few months back saying, "Hey, are you still interested in the book?" I'm like, "Bitch, no, I'm not."
You already took the class.
I took the class.
Hello.
Possibly passed. I'm not sure.
You don't remember?
I don't know anymore.
Oh, okay. But
Zachary
yeah.
Levi. I guess we're gonna be seeing cosmic shit then, or fun shit. What do you think is gonna? Where do you think it's gonna go?
I feel like Shazam is gonna be the reply to Guardians of the Galaxy, clearly.
Yeah.
And it's gonna possibly.
But do you think it? But what do you think? Do you think it's gonna be a cosmic reply, or is it gonna be a fun reply?
I feel like the cosmic reply won't. It's gotta be. The cosmic reply is Green Lantern Corps.
I know.
That's the cosmic reply. This is the funny reply. This and this thing, Flashpoint.
Yeah.
Flashpoint and Shazam are gonna be the comedic relief. Because Suicide Squad is a comedic relief, but in a bad way.
Yeah. No, exactly. We laughed for all the wrong reasons.
Exactly. Next.
Whatever. It'll be fine.
Next. Okay. Oh boy.
Yeah. Fuck you, David Mazouz. David Mazouz wants
Context.
David Mazouz wants a Gotham / Arrowverse crossover. I
Why?
didn't mean the hate. Okay, it's not that bad.
I did.
I mean, I don't want to see it. Don't do it. Your opinion's wrong.
you know what?
You're fine, but your opinion's horrible.
It pisses me off.
With an extra H.
You need look. Pisses me off that there's so they.
You don't have a pop filter. Remember that. We're just.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right. I need to back up.
Penis.
Stop.
Okay.
Stop. Anyways, so you know what really grinds my gears is that these shows, these DC shows, rely so much. Their band-aid or like their solution is just to cross over the shows.
Yeah.
They do it so often that it feels worse than a Disney Channel crossover.
Yeah.
It doesn't even feel like a special anymore. It's just like, you know, every
feels
other
like
season.
it feels
every
like
season, someone's crossing over. It's like, oh my god, we gotta do this.
It feels like a responsibility because like whenever they do
It's
that,
a given now.
It's like the reason that they do that is like they know if Arrow and Flash are gonna cross over, I'm gonna want to understand what's going on with with Arrow while it's coming on to now, like
Exactly.
getting at this point. So I'm gonna have to go back and I'm gonna have to watch all those episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
Brings their ratings up and wastes my time.
Exactly.
I mean, I want to watch one show. I'd like to watch Flash. Like if Flash existed in its own thing, I'd be so fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Flash started out that way, and I used to watch The Flash for like 2 seasons.
I'm just off this season. Like I finished last season. I'm waiting for this season to come out on Netflix because I dropped out like 3 months ago.
It's such a hassle. It feels like a chore.
It feels like a chore at this point. There's so many things. Like now you got to cross over. You got to cross over with Supergirl and Legends of Tomorrow.
You got a musical episode.
You got the music episode's not that bad actually.
I don't want to know.
It's really good, and that's because I'm a musical.
Yeah, exactly.
Slut.
That's why I don't trust. I do not trust. But anyways,
it's good though.
Star Wars: The Last Jedi has the second largest domestic.
Jedi.
Oh God. Has the second largest domestic opening of all time.
Oh yeah.
Who's in first?
I have no. Domestic opening of all time, probably Titanic.
Possibly.
Oh no. The
No?
Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens. Okay.
So yeah.
The Force Awakens beat The Last Jedi.
By a little bit.
Not by much.
The Last Jedi actually beat Justice League in 3 days. What they haven't done in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So
But
that's not even us saying that. That's actual fucking facts that we have in front of us.
But then again, the Justice League. I was gonna say The Last Justice.
The League Justice.
The League Justice. I mean, it works. But here's the thing. I was gonna say it again. The Justice League didn't have like a fair advantage because there were already
everything was stacking up against it.
Terrible reviews before it even came out. Like people were already doubting it, and that was really unfair to Justice League. So,
yeah, no, everything was already stacked up against the. It's still stacked up against the DCEU,
like
and
I still like talk to people that have just said, "I haven't seen Justice League yet. I don't think I'm going to."
They're not going to. You know,
yeah, because they're not motivated. It's like just watch it. It is super fun.
It's a fun time. I wish it was. Obviously, we wish it was. The universe was better.
We already went through this.
In context of the
I
universe,
actually got
good.
commented. Like a listener said to me, "Hey, why do you like go back and forth on your opinions on Justice League?" And I'm just like, because it's a back and forth movie.
It really is. Like, I mean, opinions change. I mean,
opinions evolve, develop. We still had the stars in our eyes when we saw it, but it was still good.
And it's still good. If you ask me to go back, like if someone said, "Hey, we're gonna go watch Justice League," I'm not gonna be like, "Ugh, no."
I would absolutely watch it again.
I will absolutely.
I've already seen it 2 times.
Yeah, I've already seen it twice, and I'm fit to see Justice League a few more times.
I gotta see The Last Jedi again.
I wish that they had an extended edition. We might get an extended edition.
We are most likely getting an extended edition.
I mean, you know that the only one that hasn't gotten an extended edition were the only ones that were like quote unquote good.
Wonder Woman.
Where it's Wonder Woman and Man of Steel.
Yeah.
Those are the only ones that haven't gotten extended cuts.
I really hope Justice League gets an extended cut. Not because it was bad, but because it was short.
I want to see a bit more, yeah.
It was cut off, and that was mainly our complaint, because as good of a movie as it was, it was undercut.
Yeah, most definitely. There was a lot more that it could have given.
Exactly. So, yeah, last bit of news. Star Wars Episode 9 gets a working title. Let's guess. What do you guess the working title is before we read this?
Good job. Well,
that's the working title?
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking to the listeners.
What? I was
I know, I'm kidding.
Looking at you.
I know, and I was kidding. I was waiting for the listeners to respond.
Jesus.
We can't hear you,
this is
silly.
Not Dora the Explorer. Please stop.
We can't hear you, silly. I'm pretty sure it's something along the lines of Episode 9. Star Wars Episode 9.
All right, let's find out. All right, blah 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 blah. Where is it?
Wait, go up. Right there. Oh no, that's. Go down, go down, go down.
No, we're looking for it. We should have prepared.
We probably should have. But hey, what are you gonna? Oh wait, I think we passed it.
Oh my god.
Black diamonds.
Black diamonds.
Yeah, because
That's the working title, Episode 9, Black Diamonds.
Yes.
Black Diamond.
Yeah, Black Diamond. Because the one before the Last Jedi was its nickname was Space Bear, like to keep it hidden. The Solo movie is called Red Cup, to keep.
True.
Like they give those names so they can have it on the billboards and stuff while they're recording.
Yeah.
So like no one goes up and like, oh, I'm gonna. Oh, they see the Star Wars logo, they're gonna flip their shit and they're gonna try to get in there.
It's an incognito
So
thing.
you keep it. It says Red Cup and no one's gonna be like, oh yeah, whatever.
What's Red Cup? The Han Solo.
Solo.
The Solo Cup.
That's exactly why. And Space Bear is probably an allusion to the Porgs.
I hate that.
Or they're calling Daddy Hamill, a space bear.
Oh, I was gonna say, Chewbacca. No, you went a completely different path.
Daddy Hamill. Also, keep it going, Doc Hamill. Please, we want Dr. Octopus to be
It would be amazing. But yeah,
so that leads us right into our topic. As you know, we always start off
non-spoilers
for
those
then
of you
spoilers.
that haven't seen the movie yet, which understandable because it's actually kind of difficult to go see it now because it's just sold out
everywhere.
Easily everywhere. So yeah, if you guys haven't had the chance to see it but want to know if it's good or not, let's start.
Yeah. So first of all, what do you think tell us what the story.
The story, okay. So
With
you
like
want
as
me to give you the plot?
Yeah, as non-spoilery as possible.
Okay, so The Last Jedi basically picks up literally right after Force Awakens.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember. I'm so tired. But it literally picks right up after Force Awakens, and we're just like going through this whole thing with it focuses a lot on the Resistance. The Resistance becoming the rebellion and going through the struggle, and it's basically a story of it is truly rebellion versus First Order, or resistance versus First Order, and that struggle of whether or not the resistance will live on.
Yeah, I like that this movie gives a whole look onto like who's really right.
Exactly.
That's the question that's asking throughout the whole movie. Like, who has the point here?
Exactly. It's a very I don't know. Like, it's a very psychological thing. Like, not psychological, but it's kind of like it's like a morality story.
Say it out loud. Just
philosophical. Thank you.
Okay. That was a
philosophical film.
Was an audience member helping us out here.
Yeah, it's a very philosophical film in terms of whether or not, who's the bad guy, who's the good guy, because we see, obviously no spoiler, but we do see a lot of evidence of, things that happen kind of behind the scenes on both sides.
Yeah, it's
and you begin to question.
No, exactly, and it's that whole question of how they mentioned in the prequels, apparently only the dark side deals in absolutes, but also the Jedi are on the other side of the absolute. So it's like, so who's really has the point here?
Exactly, because you have two absolutes, and any point of extreme is negative.
Yeah, and you're looking at this and you realize there's a lot of characters at play here. There's a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm Jedi, but I'm Resistance, but I'm this, and I'm also that. And then I'm Sith, but I'm First Order, but I'm this, and I'm also that. And there's so many little points and pieces and bibs and bops that...
Yeah, that's why I have to see this movie again, because it is very detailed.
There's a lot of layers upon layers that you have to go...
symbolism, parallels,
and a
lot
of foreshadowing.
Exactly. There's a lot of foreshadowing. There's a lot of callbacks to previous films, like the original trilogy. Like, there's a lot of parallels to... But what I liked about it was like, it's not Force Awakens where everyone's just like, oh, Force Awakens is literally A New Hope.
Exactly.
It is not that. It is basically a parallel that's kind of angled, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
like,
no, I
there's
understand.
a lot of points that call back. There's a lot of points that call back to the original stories.
Yeah.
But it takes that and turns it into something new, something unexpected.
Yeah, I like to say that the worst fan, like the worst enemy of a Star Wars fan is a Star Wars fan.
Yeah.
Because, like, what you just said...
There's a lot of people criticizing this because it made no sense. It went right over their heads.
Yeah, because what you just said, like, everyone's like, oh, The Force Awakens was too much like A New Hope. And then they're like, oh, The Last Jedi is absolutely nothing like any other Star Wars film.
What do you want?
So what do you want? Do you just not want Star Wars?
Exactly. Like, people are basically Jedi. Like, they deal in such absolutes.
Yeah,
and it's very hurtful to the franchise, but they
that
don't
bothers
care.
me. And yeah, I don't care. I liked it. I watched it. The critics are all like crapping themselves with how good it was. The only people who don't like it are Star Wars fans who were expecting fan service 24/7 but didn't get that.
They didn't get any pandering, and that's why they're pissed.
Exactly. Like, it was just...
This is not a film. Here's the thing. I can't say it's not a film that is like panders to the fans, because it really does. It's very satisfactory.
It does, and everyone
in so many ways, but people overlooked that.
It's just I feel like there's this like collective amnesia over Star Wars fans where they don't remember the last movies, and they don't see a certain thing and think, oh, this is from here. They mentioned like this here.
And not to sound pretentious, but it's like the Star Wars fans that became Star Wars fans when Force Awakens came out.
Exactly. Yep.
Like,
exactly.
You're not OG, which, there's no problem with that.
No,
I understand that. But you have to know your source material.
Yeah,
okay?
if the only thing you're backing off out of is from The Force Awakens, and then you're trying to tell me that you're the biggest Star Wars fan because you got a Porg sweater.
And then when you're criticizing this, quote unquote plot hole of, oh, why did this happen? And I was just like, well, because we've been asking these questions since the first trilogy.
Yeah.
And what I loved about Rian Johnson's work in this film was, and this was mentioned to me by my very pretentious colleague / brother. And he said that Rian Johnson's look and feel of the movie was a little bit more like versus Force Awakens. He's comparing Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams. J.J. Abrams is very bright, very fun, colorful, very lens flary, obviously, and Rian Johnson is a little bit more. He said it's like, this is a really weird word to describe it. It's a bit more grainy.
Yeah.
In terms of how it was shot, of how the movie feels, like the colors, it feels a little bit more serious. But the movie doesn't take itself so seriously. The movie 100% of the time.
The movie felt real because of that.
It was very Rogue One, is what it was.
Because we weren't getting we weren't getting the blue lightsaber as a big bright ball of blue.
Exactly.
It was this kind of pale whitish bluish from the original movies.
Exactly.
And the colors that we were getting, even with that, the use of colors. There was a whole scene, which I'm not going to spoil, where the whole background was red.
Yeah.
The whole background was red.
And it's
the
to be expected because all the marketing has been red and all that.
Yeah, there's an excellent use of that of that color specifically.
And it's not, what I loved about it it was loud enough to catch your attention, but it was not loud enough to be
confusing
or cheesy or just tacky. It was not tacky. It was used very well, and you see it, and it makes everything else, like the actual scene, stand out.
Yeah.
And it was an absolute standout scene that I cannot say right now, but it was excellent.
It's amazing. We will talk about that in a bit when we get to the spoilers section.
Yep.
Something that we can talk about. Let's talk about porgs.
Porgs were not as big a thing this film as I expected.
Right, and people still have an issue with them. Do you have a problem with them?
I don't have a problem with them.
I think they're just
cute.
They're just cute. They're little things that are there.
They're just basically Star Wars pigeons. That's it.
That's fine, and they were.
It was literally just an expansion of aliens and creatures in the Star Wars universe.
And
I find no problem with that.
It was cute. It was a cute little.
It didn't take away from the story. Didn't really add.
I feel like I would have had a problem if the porgs, if there's a bad guy coming up after someone, and then all the porgs pile up on him.
Yeah, like the porgs to the rescue.
No, it was
they
fine.
were like a little sidekick, and it was really cute because it's kind of like a little interaction that they have, the porgs versus Chewbacca. And I
want to see Chewbacca dress up a little porg like Han Solo in a little vest. And name him Han or whatever.
No.
And then it'll be like Chewie as the captain of the Millennium Falcon with little porg Juan.
That is adorable.
And then Juan.
Solo.
Juan Solo.
I hate you.
Little porg Juan Solo.
Why was he? I just realized.
He's adorable.
Shut up.
He's gonna be a cute little thing, isn't he?
Oh God! But
anyway,
yes, that's what our predictions for episode 9
were wrong. So.
Episode 8? No, I'm saying
Oh, episode 8. I mean, our predictions for episode 8 were wrong.
Pretty wrong. Which I'm kind of happy about. None of us it's kind of a spoiler because now you know our theories from last week. None of them were true.
Yeah.
But it also is kind of then what the hell happened?
But what the hell happened is the question.
Exactly. And I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
I very much enjoyed that they didn't pander into our theories.
I think Rian Johnson did a good job in dealing with the fact that, while J.J. Abrams did an amazing job with The Force Awakens, he left kind of a big mystery element to this. Right. The thing with the original series, with the original trilogy, was
linear.
That it was very linear. We never had that sense of mystery, why is this happening? Or
and that's the thing. People are complaining about this not being linear.
They're saying,
oh, this isn't Star Wars. It's like, well,
And that's the thing.
Why would you want to just repeat?
And you get Ryan Johnson dealing with the Rey question, you know, with that whole Rey parentage situation in a way that it's just kind of like, listen, open and shut. This isn't what we need. We don't need to focus on this. This is what's happening.
This is the priority.
This is what's going on. Okay, maybe we'll talk about that later. Maybe not.
Exactly.
Let's go on with the story.
He leaves these side plots to become relevant and a more important part of the story. And I feel like it was very well used. So I really hope that J.J. Abrams does this justice in episode 9.
Yeah, I don't want it to be like, oh, let's take what Ryan Johnson did and make it fun and wacky again.
Yeah, and here's the thing. Ryan Johnson's, like, movie wasn't completely fun and wacky free. Like,
no.
It had its funny moments.
It was
moments, hilarious. Like, I there were times I was just, like, laughing, tears out.
Yeah.
And it was really funny. It was really good, but I loved how it just wasn't overdone.
No, that's good.
It was not overdone. A lot of people, they were complaining about everything. It was like, oh, it was too funny. Oh, it was too serious. Oh, it was this. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Shut up. Just shut up. Watch the movie and enjoy it. It's Star Wars. We wait until December for this.
It's Christmas.
Just enjoy a thing.
Come on, man.
Or if you don't like it, let other people enjoy a thing.
Exactly. And I understand some of the criticism, the more logical criticisms, because I did leave the theater feeling like I had more questions than answers, but then again, that same thing happened in Force Awakens.
Exactly. Just enjoy the film.
Exactly.
It's a good film.
Because if we start, like, tearing it apart and being super duper nitpicky with it, then it's just where no one's going to have fun with it. You're never going to enjoy it. Which is slightly what happened with Justice League. Like, we started picking it apart a little bit, but then again, Justice League is another different kind of quality.
That's a different movie. Because, like, Star Wars earned it.
Exactly.
Star Wars has been doing this for years. They absolutely earned the bits of comedy or the bits of change in their movies. While Justice League is the 5th movie to come out in this franchise, and
it's just the same.
It tried to flip the universe over and make it different when they haven't even earned like our trust.
We haven't earned that.
No, that's really it. They haven't earned it.
We feel like the abused spouse of the DC.
Seriously, and it's like
are.
The whole thing with Shazam. If they had gone into space, I would have been pissed because when Marvel did Guardians, they earned it. They did a bunch of stuff on Earth, and that's when they said, "Hey, space is there too.
Let's branch out."
Now they brought in space to Justice League. They brought in aliens, and it's like
2 Guardians of the Galaxy films and Thor Ragnarok.
And Thor, we get a bunch of space stuff that was completely earned because it wasn't just like, we're here and we're doing this now.
Build up.
Exactly, and that's what Star Wars is doing. It's branching out, but it's because they've earned it. They've done this for years. They deserve.
They've already done everything
to
else,
do something else.
And yet there's so much more that they can do. And I cannot wait.
And also, no spoilers, but shirtless Kylo Ren is a trip.
Woo-wee! I did not expect that. That was like, I didn't even predict that. I didn't expect that. And it had me feeling some kind of way.
Just look out for it. It's very good.
It's a good and
very good.
And it's great. It's just
if
anything, just go to see that.
Yeah, you can leave.
You can literally just show up, stay until that scene, and leave if you don't want to see anything else. And you be good.
You will be good. Is that it for non-spoilers?
That's it for non-spoilers.
All right.
There we go.
And we're back. So no time has passed for you.
1 week later.
We're in the future. I mean, not your future because.
This is your present.
I mean, right now we're in your
Christmas present.
Right now we're in their past because they haven't heard us at this moment yet.
I swear to God.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where were we?
Where were we? Oh, we're going right into the Last Jedi spoilers. Last week we got into.
Very tired.
We are tired because 100%.
Christmas happened.
Christmas. I don't care what you say. Sure, it's a happy holiday, but not if you're a 20-year-old college student.
Not only that.
And if you're
still in college.
You're taking classes. We're taking classes here in Puerto Rico because we were destroyed.
Correct.
Yeah, so we're still taking classes. We haven't had a break from college.
In 84 years.
Yeah. We have jobs and schoolwork and life, and everyone just expects us to be manageable. And now we have a podcast, which is honestly one of my priorities.
Obviously.
So that's why I didn't just like drown myself in this process to let you guys know.
Just to letting you know, that's why there wasn't an episode last week.
Yeah.
I mean, I posted it because we were trying to finish this.
Honestly, yeah, we had to give it a good amount of time because we don't have a private place to record anymore.
Yeah.
So we didn't want to outright just start telling people spoilers for Star Wars last week when it had come out like a day before.
Legit. It had literally just come out.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, we're going right into spoilers. I think we said last week that it's definitely a beautiful movie.
Definitely. Like not without its faults. I've had many discussions in the past week about the movie. And a lot of people have a lot of problems with it. But none of them, at least the people I spoke to, none of them outweighed the problems. Like they didn't outweigh the cons with the pros.
Yeah. I mean, this one. I get you.
Yeah.
This is not a perfect movie. There's no such thing as a perfect movie, and I knew that going in, and when I left the film the first time. But it's not as bad as people are saying, to the point where they want to cut it from Star Wars canon.
Yeah, that's just the most...
That's just so... It's petty. It's so...
The most immature thing I've heard. That's like... No one said, let's remove Justice League from canon.
No, I mean, that whole universe is going to be pulled out of canon soon.
Like, I think that's why no one said anything.
Yeah, everyone's just like, they'll reboot it. But you can't reboot Star Wars. And, like,
They just did.
I mean, the thing is, Marvel did have a quote-unquote canon story, but it wasn't all... did I say Marvel?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. Star Wars didn't have this whole... it had this whole canon universe, but it would span into books and video games and comics and stuff, and it was this untraceable, untrackable, complicated canon.
Yeah.
Which I think spawned some of the worst Star Wars fans.
Because
now we have this new canon that they just can't accept. You know, these are all...
They got really picky. They got really picky with the movie, and I don't think that they're giving Rian Johnson credit.
Like,
because
honestly,
I truly did.
I legitimately thanked. I thanked him on Twitter.
Aww.
You know, and which I'm a little butthurt about. Rian Johnson, I know you're listening.
Did he never reply?
I said thank you to you. I said thank you, and I had this beautiful message about what this movie. Yeah, amidst all the hate about what this movie meant to me. And then a friend of mine does something similar, and you actually liked his tweet. And I'm just like, he just said thank you, Ryan Johnson. That's it. I'm butthurt. Okay.
So at Rian Johnson.
At everybody at Rian Johnson, say you should thank
like
at _mcoast
on Twitter
and like my
slide into his DMs.
Stats. Make a movie out of me.
Ooh, don't tempt him.
I mean, make movie film out of me like Hannibal Lecter would.
Ew.
That's gross.
With like your vocal cords?
Yes. I don't know.
You've never seen Hannibal?
My thinning hair. She's gonna.
Ew, no.
Because I'm
Change
balding.
the subject. We're spoilers here.
Spoilers. I'm balding. You guys are making me.
What is your
look
favorite
older.
scene out of the movie?
Ben Swolo.
Same though. Beefcake Adam Driver.
Honestly, anyway, he comes out and even Daisy Ridley's all flustered because he's shirtless.
She's like, can you not?
He's like, can you put on a shirt, man, please? Obviously that's not my favorite scene, but it was very unexpected.
It was more unexpected than having Yoda pop up all of a sudden.
Honestly,
I expected Yoda to pop up.
No, I mean, because we talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, because it was very last minute. It was literally spoiled the day before we saw the movie.
Yeah, it was just like, we did the lighting on Jesus and Yoda, and then we're just like, so Yoda's gonna be in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was still happy with how it was done.
It was great because they got
the original style Yoda.
Yeah, they got the same. I read the story about it. It wasn't the same exact puppet.
Obviously.
But it was the same exact mold that they used for the plastics and rubbers and stuff. And the original actor, Frank Oz, for Yoda, came back to lend his voice. That guy has to be like 80 years old because he was like an OG for the Muppets.
Yeah, it was still great because like they tried to keep it so pure without being purist.
Yeah, it was.
That was this entire movie.
Yeah, this whole what I like about this whole movie is how different it is. Like, and that's what people's problem is. It's how different it is from other Star Wars movies, but in the sense that this whole movie is about failure. You know, no
Legit.
one I don't think anybody gets what they wanted in the end. Like,
I loved and hated it.
That's
but
a good
I got
way,
over the
but
hate.
that's a good way to have a second movie. If you know it's going to be a trilogy, I think that's one of the best things that you could do for a second film.
Because the third film is going to be the comeback.
Exactly. This one is definitely going to be one of those comeback stories where it's not like the original trilogy or the prequels, where it was just like
uphill.
the first one was exposition, the second one was just a little bit more exposition, and then
the last one was
action,
battle.
and then the last one is just action the whole way through. This one's doing something different, and rather than making it visually pleasing to see the fights and all that stuff, it's a point of
it was more
mental
dynamic.
it's like a mystery element. It's a
This entire trilogy is a much more dynamic storyline.
This does political intrigue better than the prequels were, and that whole thing was supposed to be political intrigue.
Legit.
Like this it's I mean, obviously we can't talk about Star Wars without talking about the political parallels that it had.
Oh, absolutely.
Every single one has something to do with their
and it even
times.
brought up the whole what are the good guys and what are the bad guys.
Yeah, and it's showing who kind of the real problem is.
Like the Resistance versus the First Order, they both buy their weapons and their machines and everything
so
from
exactly.
the same person.
So this war.
So they're making the same people rich.
Exactly, and they're just. It shows that side. It shows something that's something that we don't see in.
It's very realistic.
Exactly, and that's what some people are telling me that they don't like about this one, how real it feels. Like all the other movies take, like I said, the politics of the time.
Fantasy.
Yeah, the original ones would take this political problem and this political message and do it very, very cartoony, when this one made it really, really close to the real world.
Exactly, and that's what people didn't like about it. It was like, it's too different. No, it is the same concept. It's just applied much more closely.
And that's
what they completely miss.
And that's what I loved about this. It didn't feel like, Force Awakens really felt like a Star Wars movie. Obviously, like in the good,
because it was the
it
first
was
one.
like in the good ways and the bad ways.
And then people criticize it as, it's just A New Hope. No.
Exactly, and then we get something like Rogue One that shows you something completely different, and then we get this movie. Yeah, and then we get this one that is completely different as well. So I think Rian Johnson took that, not like the mold, but that concept that Rogue One did, that it was like, this is fantasy, this is fun, but this is also the darkness that's actually happening.
Without being like the typical, it's grittier now.
Exactly, it wasn't just gritty, it was just, I don't know, it just felt so different, and I loved it.
It was very... This is going to be a really weird term. It was a lot more intimate.
Yeah.
Especially with the characters.
It was a lot of emotions, and how this whole rebellion and everything that's happening is very tied to, other than the politics, it's tied to the emotions that people are feeling about their situations. Let's go back to scenes.
I thought it was really, visually incredible.
Amazing.
A lot of people complained about the CGI. Especially with the Leia scene. I understand to a certain point, but it was not that bad.
We all remember the Mary Poppins scene. We're in spoilers now, obviously. This has been spoilers for a while.
I liked the Mary Poppins scene.
I like the concept.
I very much like the concept, but I do understand the gripe.
I do believe that it could have been done
technically better.
Technically, exposition. It could have had it actually as a surprise, like what I was thinking. It would have been much better if, when this whole scene happened, Leia starts floating away, and then you see her. And then you see her just kind of stop and start coming back, but you don't see
that whole close-up.
You don't see the close-up on her eyes, on the hands. She's actually,
so you thought that was just excessive?
It was excessive. It was really extra.
It was.
She could have just been still
was.
passed out. She could have been still passed out and unconscious, and you see this, but the Force is moving through her and pulls her back.
Exactly.
They could have done something like that.
Just toned it down a little bit.
Yeah, where
it was still good, but just tone it down a little bit, so it seems a bit more cohesive.
Exactly.
With the whole
I can see this whole scene actually in my head, where it's she's floating away, she starts coming back, and everybody in the ship is wait, she's floating back. Someone opened the door and tried to grab her. And then when
when she's coming closer and closer,
when she's coming closer, she has her hand extended, pulling out.
I like how you demonstrate on a podcast.
Yes, you guys can see it. I'm doing the hand shaky Force thing, whatever.
Yeah, don't imagine that.
I've been trying to use the Force all these days.
On what?
On everything. Just that door. Come on, open.
And your mom opens the door.
Yeah.
There you go.
I'll text my mom before I start doing the Force, and
can you come? Whatever. Anyways.
Yeah. We are so tired.
Aside from that scene, you know what I really like? That whole. A lot of people complained about Luke Skywalker's character.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why people had their issues,
Yes.
but I loved
what they did.
I
with
love
it.
what they did with it because even
It
this.
was so much more realistic. There were still unexpected things, but at the same time, they made sense. At least to me, like they made a lot of sense to me
No,
because
and
there's a lot of parallels that run through the story.
no, exactly. It's other than this being, Luke. I was gonna call him Luke Skywalker. Mark Hamill
Right.
actually talked about
Doc Hamill.
Yeah, hashtag Doc Hamill. I think we
Get
mentioned
it?
this earlier.
Yes.
Hashtag Doc Hamill, Mark Hamill for Dr. Octopus.
Okay, go. Go.
He was saying like, oh, I didn't love the way that they think Luke Skywalker would act,
But
but this isn't his movie anymore. This isn't his franchise anymore.
he had his time.
Like his franchise was the original trilogy. You know,
This isn't Luke Skywalker the movie.
exactly.
Han
Like
Solo's doing that.
Han Solo's getting his own movie.
Although we're probably gonna get Sebastian Stan in the whole thing.
I wouldn't
Possibly.
mind it. I wouldn't mind it.
I like it,
Um,
but I don't think it's necessary to do a Luke Skywalker
yeah,
movie.
okay. So he was saying that he didn't love it, but he understands, and that's what
There's
people are
always
using out of
creative
context.
differences.
And-
And he tweeted afterwards, later in the week, he was just like, I do regret sharing my insecurities publicly because creative differences are unavoidable.
Yeah.
But they are normally in private. And he said that in public, and it just like created this entire discord. And he apologized, and he said it because he respects Ryan Johnson
Yeah.
as a creator, and I think that's really important to have respect between not your boss, but at least like your superior in that corporate environment.
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, he wouldn't have done it if he didn't like the
Right.
portrayal of it. So like,
Right.
I knew 100% that he wasn't saying that like I didn't
It
like
was
this
crap,
character.
yeah.
Like, and it's also not uncommon in the Star Wars story. We've seen this twice of
Legit.
examples of Jedi being like, oh shit, I fucked up, let me disappear.
Exactly.
We've had we saw the picture on Facebook where it was
Exactly.
Obi-Wan like, oh, I created Darth Vader, so I ran away to a desert planet to hide
Under another name.
under another name. Yoda did the same thing. It's like I didn't realize how bad the Jedi Order was, so I went into a swamp.
Exactly. And
like-
then people are just like, Luke would
Like,
never do this. A Jedi would never
A
do this.
Jedi would never realize his mistake and disappear. Like
It's happened twice. And what I love about this movie, it's literally, and this is the quote that's literally, it has become iconic by Kylo Ren, is, kill the past if you have to.
Yeah,
if you have to become who you're meant to be. And I like how we're basically not rebooting the universe here, but it's just
we're
kind of
moving
like
forward.
we're moving forward and refreshing. We're starting from scratch, which I think was fantastic, not only with the whole let's destroy the Jedi Order, let it end so we can start something new.
You had
He
a feeling
killed
that.
Snoke.
Oh my, yeah. How did we not talk about that yet?
Yeah, no, because I was leading up to that, because that was not only the Jedi Order thing, but he also killed what we thought was the main villain.
Yeah. So exactly. So like now we
We're
know that this
starting
isn't.
new.
This is where we are gonna get new antagonists and new.
For the last movie.
more power struggles, like different aspects of a power struggle. Because I didn't notice this through the movie, but there were a lot of like variables. Like you had not only did you have the rebellion, but you had the Jedi,
Resistance
and then
here.
you had but you had the resistance, and then that eventually leads up to being the
Becoming
rebellion.
the rebellion
and
again,
then
yeah.
you had the Jedi, and then you also have Sith and First Order,
Yeah.
which are two separate entities working on the same thing. That's like
Yeah.
4 or 5 different elements at play here, and this is Kylo Ren saying, okay,
Screw all of this.
This-
I want to get what I want.
burn this. Let's just make a new universe. We can stop this and do this a different way.
Right.
So like
I respect that.
and the thing about the First Order is that
I respect that. It's a cool motive, still murder.
yeah, cool motive, still murder, but that's the thing. Like I mean, to a certain extent, I understand what he was trying to say.
Right. Yeah.
And I think
Just stop all of these squabbles.
and I think that's also what Rey wants. She wants all this stuff to be different and to be over.
She
and I think
wants that, but she doesn't want it the way Kylo wants it.
Exactly.
That's why she tried so hard to get him to the light.
no, exactly, and that's why I think that there's a lot of talk of this whole Gray Order thing, which is what this universe needs, and that's what the prophecy of all Star Wars has been: the balance and the Force. You know?
I think that's the key between Kylo and Rey, because Kylo and Rey do have a connection within the Force. We don't know why yet. The whole thing, a lot of people were pissed about. By the way, we were both wrong.
No,
I
yeah,
think.
we were we
Possibly.
were both possibly
Possibly wrong.
with the B emoji. No,
because
we were
her quote unquote, her parents were revealed.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. Maybe.
I was like, oh, they wouldn't lie in a Star Wars movie, and I remember like
it was Kylo who said it, and I don't know if I trust Kylo 100%, but at the same time, he never lied to her.
He never lied to her, but at the same time, like we also get that whole thing with Obi-Wan.
He wants to make her feel less than. Yeah. He wants her to need him.
No, exactly, and I think to a certain extent, like I think it could still be the whole Han Solo thing, because I don't think he would care if it was
the whole
like
connection between them in the Force would support the Han Solo.
Yeah,
theory.
and I don't think it would be like
Rey Solo.
Yeah, exactly, the Rey Solo. I don't think he would give a shit if he was like an Obi-Wan, if she was like an Obi-Wan.
Right.
Because his whole thing is like, we're gonna destroy all this stuff.
But I think he would give a shit.
So yeah,
if that's his sister.
Exactly. So I don't think that he would say like upright, be like, yeah.
Because
also remember, I killed your dad because he was my dad,
exactly.
And that would have started another problem. So like, there's still a lot of wiggle room for this.
But I do know, and one of my favorite scenes, honestly, was the team up, the Rey Kylo team up.
That's one of the best scenes in all of this is
the entire Star Wars universe. This is the best scene.
Honestly, like I think this is.
I applaud Rian Johnson with that scene.
I saw this movie twice in the process of not recording.
Right.
That scene, like the first time it shocked me, and then the second time literally made me tear up.
It's so good.
Because you're just looking at everything that's going on, and you're just like, this is so beautiful, and it's not like weird.
It's not
Zack Snyder slow motion where it's like the camera's like moving around, and it was just a still frame of everything moving slow motion as they both get their lightsabers ready. It was
so well done. It wasn't overdone. It wasn't underdone. It was just perfectly cooked.
That fight scene was just beautiful, and all the combinations and the choreography of that was just amazing.
It was fantastic.
That I could appreciate it a lot more. Like, that's something that I suggest. Watch this movie again.
Because
like,
you
get
to
whether you liked it
more the details.
Yeah, whether you liked it or not, you should check this movie out again, because the second time around, obviously, I found some things that I didn't enjoy, that I didn't notice in the first one. But at the same time, I saw the things that I liked more.
Exactly.
So,
like seriously, the pros outweigh the cons here.
It's a good movie. Carrie Fisher's performance was amazing.
Incredible.
One of her last lines, like her last two lines, were like made me actually cry in the second time I saw it.
Yep.
Where she says like, "Oh, I know what you're gonna say. I changed my hair." And then when Poe is just like, "Oh yeah, we gotta go this way," and then they'll all look at her. She's like, well, "Don't look at me. Go with him." Those are very Carrie Fisher written lines. Like,
yes.
And you can feel that that's her. Like, that's actually her, not Princess Leia on screen, and you feel it, you know?
Because she is Princess Leia. No, excuse me, General Organa.
She is General Organa.
Because she became, and I think I posted this on Facebook too, that she became, because everyone was remembering Carrie Fisher because her 1 year anniversary was yesterday, the 27th of December. And everyone was always remembering Carrie Fisher when she was young. And someone actually put, I remember her as General Organa because we got to see the development of this character and this woman throughout the span of, 30, 40 years?
Yeah, no, exactly. You can see.
She became what she was meant to be, character-wise. She became what she was meant to be, which was a diplomat, which was a leader, which was, a speaker of everything right, and, of honesty, and she is the true Jedi.
Yeah, that's why I'm not
the light side, 100%. And I thought it was absolutely fantastic. It was, her closing performance was amazing, and I think we should all remember her as what she was.
Yeah, it was just
not just the beginning, but the entire thing.
Like, it's what she's done for the Star Wars universe is.
We cannot discount that because literally
I don't,
everyone ran away except her.
Yeah.
If you think about it, Han Solo ran away. Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, the Skywalker, that big locker in the sky. Rest in peace, Airbud or something.
Oh my God.
That dog is probably dead.
The dog is definitely dead. Or what are you talking about?
It came out in the 80s, I think, or
that a dog
mid-90s.
Is absolutely dead.
It's been 20 years.
Just like a really old. Oh God.
Yeah, he's a god now.
I mean, god backwards is dog.
Yeah.
There you
and
go.
Cat backwards is tack, and that means nothing to me.
What?
God, we are so tired. Like, I feel like we finished talking about what we needed to talk about because we just hit that wall.
Yes, we have. We've hit that.
What
that
else? What else is there that we
wall.
can talk about? Like, feel it in you. What can you pull out of this?
With the Force?
Yeah, reach deep. Reach.
What are our
wait,
expectations for the final movie?
I kind of just want to see. I think.
I want to go in with no expectations at this point.
I mean, I want to go in with no expectations, but I think what I would like next time this comes around, I'll see a few trailers, but I don't want to dig too deep into this because I want to genuinely be surprised by what's going to happen with this universe.
Yeah, because even then we were very, attentive to all the trailers for this movie.
But I didn't see all the.
Yet we were still surprised.
Yeah, I mean, we were very.
They're very good about this.
We were looking deep into all the stuff, but it was more like the bigger stuff that we'd talk about. Because I tried to keep myself away from like featurettes, and clips and interviews.
Yeah.
I didn't want to see anything. I didn't want to know anything.
Trailers,
which is the same thing that I'm doing for Black Panther. I don't want to see anything. I don't want to hear anything.
Same.
I just want to go into it with zero.
I'm
on my
excited
mind.
about Black Panther.
I
even
really
more
am.
Now,
I was talking,
especially with the music, the soundtrack that's coming with it. Kendrick Lamar is going to be in it.
I'm very excited
Pumped.
for that. Like
we
I was talking to a mutual friend of ours about like that whole thing with trailers. I'm trying to keep myself away from all that stuff because I feel like if I get too saturated in something, like last time I did that whole thing where I watched everything for it was Suicide Squad,
and that ruined.
And that was just horrid. I did the same thing for Alien Covenant, also just bad. Which also reminds me, we have to do a best and worst of 2017 off-air combo. No, I mean that's just a little sizzle for next episode. That's our sizzle. Or a rattlesnake, you guess.
A little maraca.
Yeah, a little maraca. No, I don't want to go into the next movie with too much expectation, but what I do want to see is I kind of want the whole trilogy scheme to end here. That's
what I want.
I want it to be literally just a trilogy of trilogies, and then everything else that we get within the Star Wars universe is one-off stuff, things that maybe you can have something with a 1 and a 2, or a part 1, part 2.
Getting his own trilogy. There's no avoiding that. But
I don't want it to be anywhere linked to a Skywalker.
Exactly.
I don't want this to be.
You can do so much in the Star Wars universe. You could even do something with what's Lupita Nyong'o's character?
Maz Kanata.
You can do something with Maz.
Something like that. Like I think.
It doesn't have to be 100% her.
No, I know, but you can have like her in it.
You can have an Indiana Jones style film. In space.
Like I want this whole span between episode 1 and episode 9 and the few years before and after that. I don't want it to be like discussed or touched on.
It's already
I want to see something that goes farther away than that, away from names that like everything is a completely new name, new planets. What?
You know how
a Jar Jar Binks trilogy.
Shut the fuck up.
Jar Jar Binks 2.
Flick in your face. Listen.
Back in the habit. Okay,
oh my
go.
god. I'm closing with this. You know what'd be great?
Okay.
You know how every single Star Wars movie it starts with in a galaxy, not a long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away. Why does it start like that? So we're all looking at the past here.
Yeah, this
what
is the past.
What if we get a present time?
What
Star
would the
Wars?
universe be like present time? But how would that work? Like, I don't want like the technology that they add to it to end up being a lot closer to like Star Trek stuff.
No.
Because like once you start adding like a bit more tech into this world, it kind of becomes.
Smooth. It becomes an egg.
It really does. It becomes like a greased pig.
Not what I'm talking about, though.
No.
Technology-wise. What I'm talking about is government-wise, political-wise. Basically, not another resistance, not another war.
Yeah.
If not just like something, you can do something like, I don't know.
I would like to see something that
there could be conflict. You could do an espionage film. You can do.
I want to do something that's grounded, like something that is just the happenings of a planet that is in the Star Wars universe, affected by. It can be affected by the Sith and Jedi and all that stuff, but I don't want it. Like, if they're gonna get in any type of vehicle, it should be like a cruiser, like a land cruiser or something.
Exactly.
I want to see something that stays very grounded, something with like
even
local
with, like, the
politics
and things that we saw in Rogue One.
I could see, like, I want to see a Knights of the Old Republic story or something like near that era where it's like really, really long time ago. Like
BC.
Yeah, like
before Chewie.
Beachy.
Beachy, like beachy waves?
Like the Beachy Boys. It's the Beachy Boys. I'm Italiano now. Good Lord, I'm really tired. Oh,
Y'all
God.
can't see me, but I am giving him the dirtiest of looks.
No, that sounds gross. She is shocked.
I'm shocked.
And shakes.
Like a milkshake, a dairy-free milkshake.
So a shake. Just a glass full of nothing.
Almond milk.
Of almonds. Not even almond milk. Just shaking up a glass of almonds and drinking it straight.
That's it. That's all. That's the show, folks.
That's all,
We're
folks.
We're
Oh, wait. Benicio del Toro. We didn't talk about Benicio del Toro. That we did the stutter, and that feels bad.
He was in the movie.
He was in the movie.
That's
and
it. That's how I feel about it.
He's
great.
He's a local legend.
I literally did not care.
Puerto Rican pride.
Puerto Rican pride, obviously, but I
His
did not care
character
for his character.
I-
It was a throwaway character.
I don't think it was.
Really?
I feel like
He will come back, obviously.
I feel like he's gonna have a big impact on the next movie.
Yeah, because he betrays everyone. He
Yeah, I
literally
know.
does not give a flying food.
But I feel like what he says at the end, where it's like, oh, they kill you today. It's like they get you today, you get them tomorrow. I feel like that's his way of saying, like, I did this.
So
I turned you in because I knew you'd find a way out. This money is going to help the rebellion. You know?
Possibly.
Like,
I don't know. I feel like maybe it was done on purpose. Maybe it was just like he was underused.
and did you notice that they didn't mention his name once in the?
No, absolutely not.
They didn't mention his name like a single time. He was just like, oh, I'm
There's just a
the
code.
code breaker, whatever.
I can break codes. He's
Yeah.
not the code breaker that they were looking for.
No, he's
and
not.
I liked
He's
that.
a code breaker.
I like
oh,
that.
wait.
I assumed that he was going to be like this hot
I just remembered something when we were mentioning the connections between Rey and
right.
Kylo Ren.
Right,
There's
right.
this whole imagery and symbolism of like a yin yang esque thing.
Yes.
So this wouldn't be too far out to say that they're just two parts of one whole. You know?
Like they're divided souls or something.
Kind of like that. Like this whole
But
like.
within the Force.
Yeah, like exactly. Like
How?
kind of like
Explain.
like you know how everyone thought that Luke Skywalker was gonna, like everyone thought Anakin was the chosen one,
Right.
and then they thought, oh no, Luke Skywalker is the chosen one. What if it isn't the chosen one? It is these two people equally strong in the light
That
and equally
make
strong in the
one.
dark that make one, so to show that it's like you can't do this. One
And
one
it's kind
person
of a
can't do
parallel
everything.
with the twins thing.
And the whole there's a lot of the twin parallel and the twin sons and everything. There's a double imagery of it.
Twin sons.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean like the actual
Like-
fucking fiery stars in the sky?
Yes,
not
like stars.
boys.
Which is beautiful. I cried when Luke Skywalker turns into a Force ghost, which means that we're definitely seeing him again,
Obviously.
just as a Force ghost.
Exactly.
So
And I
he's-
think the use of Luke Skywalker in this film was perfect.
And it could be minimal next movie. Like it could
Exactly.
be like an Obi-Wan whispering, "Use the Force, Luke," type situation.
A little ASMR, use the Force, Luke.
Use the Force, Luke. This is me turning on a lightsaber. That's some Star Wars ASMR.
Shut up.
Wait, take it away, Chewie. He's whispering.
That's the title of this episode.
Take it away, Chewie.
No, Star Wars.
Star Wars ASMR, : take it away, Chewie. 2, back in the habit.
Shut up. No, I'm not writing that much.
No, I'll do it. I'll do it later. I'll do it in post.
All right, Mr. Spielberg.
Oh God, I thought you were gonna say Weinstein. That's horrible.
Weinstein didn't do jack shit except jack off.
Oh, gross. And we leave you with that beautiful message. Yeah, that's that whole thing. I think that's all. I think Rey and Kylo are gonna be the chosen ones.
Do you think they're gonna be love interests?
No,
Thank God.
I want this to be
A romance-free.
platonic. Like I want this to be like full respect.
You know what I also have a critique about?
What?
They've kind of forced a romance between Rose and Finn.
I think
little bit,
I
little
think
bit.
like they could have done it.
Although it seemed
it's
more
that
one-sided
line.
than anything.
I 100% believe that Finn is either asexual or
I
like.
think Finn's just obsessed with Rey.
But the thing is, like, it feels.
Platonic.
It feels that one feels very much brother and sister like.
Finn and Rey.
Yeah, because you have to remember that like Finn grew up. He didn't have a name. He was supposed to not feel. Like
He's
stormtroopers
just
are supposed to
another
be
number.
unfeeling, unemotional creatures, and he just kind of showed up and he has feelings, and he meets this guy and he meets this girl, and now they protect me and I protect them. We're friends.
Question. Do you think that Finn is going to play a more important role in the last film?
I think he is, because I think this
Like
is
a Lando. Remember that they started talking about, ooh, a Lando son, whatever.
yeah.
blah,
I think
blah, blah.
I think that what they're kind of trying to do here is that you have DJ, which is what they're calling Benicio del Toro's character, DJ, because for don't join. You have him kind of like not forcing, but teaching him this philosophy of not good, not bad. Don't take a side. Be your own thing. Be anti-war. You know, don't take anything. I think that's going to be his new arc in this.
Switzerland.
I think that's what he's trying to do. I think it's going to be this whole thing between, maybe it'll be like that third part of like this weird yin yang. It'll be like literally the good, the bad, and the neutral. So that's
the
what
lawful
keeps.
good.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be like
all that.
It'll be like straight up like a whole trifecta. I guess it's
a trilogy, maybe.
I guess it'll be like this lawful. It'll be like a lawful good, chaotic evil, and then true neutral. And this will be where the universe kind of like ends, and it's just full balance.
I think it would be a beautiful ending to have full balance.
Like that's honestly.
That's what we want.
Where I think this.
That's our only expectation.
That's where I think it would be a good way to just end this whole trilogy thing. Focus on the universe in a bigger scale rather than
and that
one
is why I think, and J.J. Abrams is coming back for the last movie. That is why I very much want him to respect what Rian Johnson has done.
Oh yeah, I don't want him to go.
And I'm not saying he's going to, because he's a good director.
No, I know that. I just don't want him to like revert back to that the funny, very Disney, one from Force Awakens.
And a lot of people complain about that, not so much with Force Awakens, but with this one. I was like, oh, it was too funny.
This one wasn't.
Okay,
it had a few jokes that were very modern, but remember,
yes.
This isn't. This movie doesn't take. This movie
it's
takes
not
place.
From the 80s anymore.
This movie takes place in a time period that would actually allow for an evolution of comedy. So like it's not out there like the same way that the comedy evolved in the 70s from the first Star Wars to now. The same thing could easily happen in space. So that's why I don't have a problem.
Look at Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's why I don't have a problem with some of the jokes. Like the whole I want to talk to Hux's mom. You know, like that joke is very
classic.
Of the time. You know.
Exactly.
I think this universe is doing good. I think the last one was a little too Disney, but it was still good. This one's trying to move away from that.
It's
to
trying
show
to be, a little sprinkle of Disney, but because it can't avoid it. But I like the direction.
I like where it's going. I hope Disney just doesn't add another funny robot. I don't want them to add another funny robot or cute fuzzy character.
We have enough droids.
Because
we have enough porgs.
Those whole thing, like the porgs, I didn't hate them. I didn't love them. They were just there.
At least they weren't overused. I'm thankful for that.
Like their whole purpose was to make a few jokes and visual gags to.
Their whole purpose was for merch.
Merchandise, 100%. I'm looking at you, Jamie. You have so many porgs. Like you're a great.
Called out
you're a great
by
man.
Name and everything.
Yeah, you're a great man, and I love what you're doing with the porgs. But I
stop.
Nah, you do you, man. You're doing great.
Where can they fan us?
Where can they fan us? Well, you can fan us here
Follow us on Facebook.
Follow us on Facebook. We go on facebook.com/BeautifulLosers.
Follow us on Twitter.
Follow us on Twitter. We are at BeLoserPod. You can also hashtag BeLoserPod to send us letters, discussions, anything you want.
Slide into our emails.
Slide into our email.
BeautifulLosersPod@gmail.com.
Oh, yes. Instagram, BeautifulLosersPod.
That's it.
That is
We're not even mentioning Snapchat because we don't use it.
We're not mentioning Snapchat. We never use it. If you want to leave a bit of a donation, we have a Funko Pop giveaway on GoFundMe. So just look at that in the description.
We would love to. Sorry to interrupt, but you guys have heard this. Like once we get to $220,
$220, we will give away a mystery Funko Pop to one lucky
And
listener.
we want to thank everyone who came to the Christmas giveaway event last week.
Oh yeah, most definitely. All you guys, thank you for your support.
Thank you for the support, even if you didn't win. Like you guys were awesome, and we had a really fun time, and definitely more events in the future.
More events are coming soon.
We have a lot of things
We have
planned.
a few things that are pending, which is very, very fun. TBD. We added another podcast to our network, which, fun fact, we have a network now.
We announced it.
I know, but go on facebook.com/ShrimpQueenBN. So that's where you can find the Shrimp Queen Broadcasting Network's
Everything will
Facebook.
be linked below.
We are going to be announcing on there when this new podcast is going to get started. They're called Pass the Page, where they talk about books.
It's a book club podcast.
It's a book club podcast.
It's lovely.
They talk about books. They talk about book movies. They'll have like
everything
weekly read-along situations where you all read a chapter and they talk about their takes
and they're
on
lovely ladies.
They're lovely ladies. We know them personally.
They're very,
awesome.
very good. And so we're very excited
that's pretty
for
much
our own expanding universe.
We have our own expanded universe.
Or BLU.
The Beautiful Losers universe.
There you go.
The beautiful universe. Gross.
The blue.
The blue universe. High five. ASMR. That was some high five ASMR. Thank you
One
for
more.
All right. Thank you for.
Goodbye.
This is a good way to send off the podcast. Bye.
Bye. Don't forget to brush your teeth. Bye.
Oh, yeah. Love you guys.